1. I had the most amazing experience with one of my tables the other day. I was working the lunch shift this past Saturday and was having a thoroughly medium day. About an hour before I was set to leave, I was looking at walking out with around $120, which, while certainly being nothing to complain about, is not exactly the best that Saturday shifts usually have to offer. So around 3:15 I get sat a 5-top. My shift is technically until 4, so I'm not thrilled to be getting a table, but I'm a broke bitch and it's my job, so whatever. The table consists of a husband and wife in their late 60s, their son, who appears to be in his late 30s, his wife, and their son, who is about 9. I notice they're kind of dressed up, but I don't think much of it, as we were right near a wedding venue, so we usually get a lot of wedding guests killing time on Saturdays. To start off, the eldest son and father are immediately in an argument over who will pay the bill. They are both taking turns finding increasingly silly ways to slip me their respective cards, making jokes with me about who I should choose and who will give me a better tip. I'm laughing and playing along, and I eventually take the son's card to hold on to until the end of the meal. They spend the meal drinking an absolute ton, ordering food non-stop, and being admittedly pretty demanding of me. I have a feeling they're going to tip well, so whatever. I give them my best service and continue to joke around with them. I end up sticking around an extra hour and a half just to take care of this table. Towards the end of the meal, the father turns to me and, despite the protesting from his family, insists on ordering a drink for him and his son to be paid for by him separately. I get his drink and his separate bill, which comes to $22. He immediately fills out his slip and hands it back to me. $40 tip. I'm shocked and ask him if he's sure. Though I go to the back and I'm trying to process the fact that someone just gave me a 200% tip. And suddenly the son is calling my name. I turn around and he says, "I just wanted to thank you. You made a really hard day a lot easier for us." And he just walks away. After all was said and done, the son had tipped me another $50. The total bill from his table was about $160, and they tipped me $90 total. Almost half of what I made in the entire shift. I realized looking back at them that they were probably coming or going from a funeral of some sort. It was overall a pretty humbling experience. I'm remembering all the times I was in a worse mood and acted a little cranky with the table that was keeping me after my shift. I guess you just really don't ever know what's going on with people. I'm so appreciative that this guy took the moment to tell me that he was grateful. It meant a lot. 2. So I just finished up a Friday shift at FYI My Days, and I have what I think is kind of a doozy for you all. It started pretty normally as far as Fridays go, a bit slower than usual, but we were expecting that. My section comprised of 2 booths and 2 tables. The tables were in a different area than my booths, a part of my section of only tables. I got sat with what I thought was a 4-top at the tables. The tables across from the 4-top were set up for a large party, but it wasn't my section, so I wasn't worried. I got the 4-top's drink orders, and as I was putting them in, the demon co-worker comes up behind me, the one whose section the party is set up in, and says, "We're sharing that party. I already introduced myself." I was confused, since I didn't have a party, and I responded, "Sure, if you want to." This was an obvious case of miscommunication, since she storms off to immediately get the manager. Now, we have a rule that if you are sat and you don't have a good enough reason to not take the table, you are fired. I go back to the table and realize that they have moved to the large party table, and in their place is a group of children. I realize that they were part of a large group, and the rest of the group has arrived. It is a 16-top. Whatever. I can handle it. I start taking the orders. Now, before you think me greedy, the party is splitting the check, and the people whose orders I have already taken are part of the larger of the 2 checks. She takes the orders of the smaller group, and I take the orders of the larger group. We decided we will split the tip in this way. She will take the tip from the smaller check, since she already has a few tables, and I have none, since I already started with the larger group. And I will take the larger group, 5 people and 11 respectively. We'll all put it under one check, under me, and I will give her her split of the tips minus the tip out, 3% for the hosts and bartenders, since I have to pay the tip out. All goes well until it comes time to run the drinks. I run all the drinks, I run all the food, I get all the refills. She just asks her 5 people if they're okay, while I continue to take her 5-top drink refills, alcoholic drink orders, dessert orders. and my own 11 tops orders on top of that. I get set with a 2-top, but because I'm doing my work and hers, I get weeded from just that. She doesn't ask if I need help, but just continues to focus on her only other table that she has, while I do it all. I eventually say, "Hey, I'm weeded, can you help with our table?" She responds with, "Sis, if I was helping or not, you'd still be weeded." At the end, her 5-top leaves her $23.40. Tip, this is important. My 11-top leaves me about $60, give or take. This causes her to complain about how much more I made than her. I begrudgingly give her $21. I decided to be kind and round the $20.40 up that I owe her after the tip out is subtracted. Later in the night, she comes up to me and has the balls to say, "You actually owe me $7 more. Look, I wrote it down." I said, "Okay, I have the check right here. I can check for you if you want me to." Lo and behold, it was $23.40, and she tried to steal money from me, knowingly. As I pointed this out, I mentioned that she actually owes me 60 cents if she wants to be petty like that. She turns and rushes off in a huff. Moral of the story, I'm only taking groups alone from now on. 3. So this situation happened about a week and a half ago. I had the same customer come in 2 nights ago, which is what brought up this memory again. I had done my best to block it and move on, but clearly he hasn't done. I was the closing server in our bar area. The manager had just cut the other 2 servers in the bar, so I was on my own. Time to make some money. Closing the bar can be hectic at times. You'll turn around and see 5 tables walk in and sit down in the span of 5 minutes. I'm rocking my 6 or 7 tables at this point. I see a gentleman walk in and sit down over in the corner at one of the 2 tops, followed by 2 other ladies that sit directly behind him. I get over to both tables quickly and drop menus off. While I'm at his table dropping the menu off, I'm having to answer a question from the ladies behind him as I had just dropped menus and gotten a drink order, but they had one more question. No big deal, it's the bar, everyone sees I'm busy, but everyone is being taken care of and has a drink in front of them. I bring this dude his 8-ounce Cabernet and continue on about my business. Side note, when I get busy, my main priority is making sure everyone has a drink in front of them, everything they need, and are happy with their food. I don't have time to run food or have a conversation with anyone, but of course I'm still polite and friendly towards everyone. I know that the chef will have some other server run my food for me, because we work as a team when it comes to running food. And that's when it goes downhill. I'm managing all my tables, running drinks, clearing dirty plates, refilling waters, and keeping an eye on all my tables so I know where each are at in their dining experience. I go over to check on the solo guy. So far he has been very quiet and nothing out of the normal. "Sir, would you care for another glass of Cabernet?" "No thanks, I'm good." I'm running around, still keeping an eye on him and his glass of wine. I see his food hit the table and walk up shortly after to check on him. "How is everything here?" "It's great. Can you send over the boy that dropped my food off?" "I'm not sure who dropped your food off, but is everything okay? Can I take care of something from you?" "No, I want the food runner." "Are you sure there isn't anything I can help you with? Are you the manager?" "No, sir, I'm your server." "Well, all you did was drop off my drink. You didn't even run my food. I want to tip the boy that dropped my food off." Now, we know the correct response in customer service is just to give in because, honestly, it's just not worth it. But something about him and the way he was talking to me while I was super busy just set me off. "Sir, that's generally not how we operate here. We all help each other run food and try to work as a team when we get busy. Again, I'm your server." There was a little more back and forth from him, but I don't remember as this happened a week ago, and I didn't let my temper flare any more than it already had. Some people suck, what can you do? I was more annoyed with how he talked to me, and that I let him get under my skin. My managers are pretty chill as far as managers go, and I was starting to explain what happened to my current MOD, manager on duty. I get interrupted as we are busy, but he makes his way over to the table to check in, and he could tell something was off. The customer ends up talking to him for 10 minutes about how my piss-poor service was, all while I'm still running around managing all my tables. MOD ends up running the customer's credit card and dropping it off, which was great because I really didn't want to go back over there, even though I had to repeatedly talk to the 2 ladies directly behind him. A bit later, I've had a few tables leave, and things start to slow down, so I'm back in the dining room closing out some credit card slips. He starts walking towards me, and I really don't give a fuck about this guy now. The server that ran his food happens to be standing right next to me. The customer calls him over and gives him $5. Just a nice little fuck you to me, since it's right in front of where I'm at currently. Customer walks away and the server offers me the $5, but I didn't want it, and guess what? When I picked the check up, he stiffed me. Again, no surprise, and it was only a $24 check anyways. I did have to tell my manager that I won't be serving that guy again should he come in. Cutscene to 2 nights ago. I walk up to the bar to help run some drinks. The bartender was talking with some guests at the bar and asked me as I walk up, "Rent a 45 do servers pull tips?" I had caught some of what was being said, so I replied in a sarcastic tone, "Yeah, of course we do." Waited a bit while she was trying to figure that out, and then was like, "No way. As servers, we never pull tips unless we share a large party together." Lots of fun being smart with each other. As I said that, I looked over at who she had been talking to, and you guessed it, douchebag from the other night. I just closed my mouth and walked away. Later, I had both bartenders come up and tell me that that dude was talking shit about me the whole time, claiming I had given him the worst service of his life. Both bartenders defended me because they know I'm one of the top servers in our restaurant, and I handle my shit. Rarely screw up food or drink orders, and when I do, I own up and fix it quickly, all while smiling. Moral of the story is don't make assumptions. The guest clearly did not understand the situation that had transpired when I gave him bad service. He also was hanging on to what happened. I couldn't believe that he had come back since he had such bad service, and that he was just talking shit the whole time. I had moved on, but wanted to share since he came back and brought all of this up again. I try to live by hate his baggage. Life is too short to carry that around. 4. I am working as a floor manager at an American-style Italian restaurant. And we're located right next to our local hockey forum, and it gets busy before the games. I had a few waiters in the weeds, so I took 5 tables for myself. 2 guys arrive at the door. I greet them and ask how they're going. 2, one mumbles. I ask if they have a reservation, no answer, and they just start walking towards the table. "Excuse me, I can offer you this table for 2. Ignoring completely, they sit at a table of 4. That's fine, I think to myself. I still have a few free tables, and the game is starting soon, so I doubt we'll have more walk-ins. "You do Caesars?" one guy asks me without looking at the menu. I answered positively, and he gets it. The other guy just wanted water. I serve the Caesar in our logo branded pint glasses, just like the picture in the menu, and water is served in a mason jar. Halfway through the Caesar, he asks me, "How come the Caesar doesn't come in a mason jar like this?" I explain to him that's the restaurant's brand, and that's just the way we do things. "Last time I came in, it was served in a mason jar." I show him the menu and explain that indeed we have a large special Caesar on the menu that comes with a slider on top, and it's served in a 1-liter mason jar. But since he ordered the just a regular Caesar, it comes in a pint glass. He argues with me. "No, I never got this large nonsense. Maybe it's because you're new here. I know for a fact that you're supposed to serve the Caesars in a mason jar." Be advised, I've been working here since the opening of the restaurant. I've been here for quite some time now, and indeed we have a lot of new waiting staff. And somebody might have made a mistake by serving you a regular Caesar in a mason jar. But that's not a problem, etc., etc. As I notice that he finishes his drink, I ask him if he wants another Caesar. "Yes." "Would you like it in a mason jar?" "No." Now I'm thinking to myself, this dude just argued with me during all that time for nothing. Okay. I give him his second Caesar. "What's wrong with your celery here?" he asks me. "What do you mean?" "Is there anything wrong with it?" I ask him. I made the drink, so I know that the celery was okay. It was cut in the morning and was sitting in a cold water bath all day, but that's what you usually get in bars. "I don't know. Why is it not crunchy?" I explained to him that the prep was made a few hours in advance, but I'm going to give him a fresh piece, and that we're sorry it wasn't up to his standards. I get him a fresh piece of celery straight from the walk-in fridge. I run extra bread before they even ask, obviously as I approach the table. "Hey, get his extra bread, please," I refill the water, check on the quality of their plates, give them the extra attention they need while keeping up with my other tables. In the end, he just whips out his credit card without saying anything. "I see you're ready for the bill. Would you like separate checks or just one?" It was just one, so the Caesar guy proceeds to pay. The second guy, who wasn't interacting with me all night, just says, "Thanks." I answer, "Thank you," and he goes, "Oh, I wasn't saying that to you. I was talking to my friend who paid for me." "Oh, and I'm just thanking you both for dining in our restaurant. I hope you had a pleasant experience. Have a great evening." Tip was average, but I was just glad that they were gone. My other tables were way friendlier and left a better tip. 5. Obligatory. This happened about a year ago, but I remember it like yesterday. I worked at everyone's favorite Australian-themed steakhouse chain for a little over 3 years. I worked as a server, front-of-house and back-of-house manager, trainer, and bartender. I mention all my roles to let y'all know that I really have seen it all. However, this guy takes the cake. On this day, I was serving a lunch shift when a host informs me that I have a one-top out of my section. The host apologizes, saying that the guest insisted on this table because they've been in here a few times and this is always their table. Classic. This'll be fun. To make telling this story a little easier, I'll call this guest Guy for the rest of the post, and I'll be me. I walk up to a man about 65 plus years old, wearing one of those visors with the fake hair attached to them that look like Guy Fieri. Interesting. "Hi, welcome. Can I start you off with something to drink?"
"I'm ready to order. I know what I want already. I want your Wednesday special with my house salad with honey mustard and a coffee, black."
We ran a Wednesday special that includes steak, fries, and a drink for super cheap. "Sure, no problem, sir. However, unfortunately, we only offer French fries as a side, as it is listed on the menu. Is that okay?"
"No. I've been coming here every Wednesday for weeks for my steak and my salad with honey mustard. I would not come in if I could not get my salad."
"Oh, okay, no problem, sir. I was told that we only serve this special with fries, but if other people have been giving you this salad, it must have got the okay from management, so I would be happy to get that for you." Guy didn't just get snappy, he literally yelled at me in the middle of the dining room. As a manager, I've been yelled at before, and I know the best way to go is to kill him with kindness. So for the rest of the meal, he was super rude, but being my seasoned professional self, I gave him perfect service, refilling his coffee about 3 times and smiling at him kindly. He barely made any eye contact, and if he absolutely had to answer a question, he gave me a short, snappy response. At the end, he paid cash, and needed change that ended with 5, like 45 cents or something like that. The store was low on change, and so I gave him his change with 5 pennies in it, thinking nothing of it. I was in the kitchen when this happened, so I'm just paraphrasing what the GM told me. But apparently GM was at the host stand when Guy was leaving, and he got an earful about me and his stupid honey mustard salad, and said that I gave him his change in all pennies. My boss kindly backed me up, explaining about how the fries only was a corporate rule, and by breaking it, we were doing him a favor. Guy was furious, not expecting someone to side with me, and called me a fucking bitch. That's when my boss told him that I was one of his managers and have never been rude to a customer, and to please leave his store if he were going to call his staff nasty names. I've been yelled at by angry customers and drunk people, and been talked down to my fair share. However, the combo of Guy's sense of entitlement, complete lack of respect, overall attitude, and the fact that he complained about me to my boss after I rectified the situation, just really takes the cake of being a terrible customer. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates number 70. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Well, as I've been recording tonight, I've been recording fairly early, well, early-ish for me. The ice cream van, and you know the troubles I have with noise when recording with ice cream vans and the like. For some reason tonight, although it was only about 7 p.m., was blasting a whistle. Now, there is a rule where they're not allowed to use the music. I don't know the actual name for the thing, but the music box. They're not allowed to use that after a certain time of night. It's usually about 9 or 10, I think. So I can only conclude that tonight he was blasting the whistle, either because perhaps the music was broken, although I had heard it earlier, so I don't think that was it, or because he's just trying to be an obnoxious dick. I'm kind of leaning towards the second part. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Okay. Now, as usual, there will probably be a stream at some point in the weekend. I'm not sure if it'll be Saturday or Sunday, but I will give you a few hours notice before I do so. At least 2, probably more. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.